Rhaenyra Targaryen is sitting on the Iron Throne right now, and the trailer for Episode 4 just quietly confirmed something most people watching it completely missed. She's already losing this war, and it has nothing to do with swords or dragons. 17 shots. That's all this teaser gives us. And inside those 17 shots is a corpse everyone's misidentifying, a prince who's been erased from his own storyline, a wife being used as a human shield, and a political trap so cynical, it's almost impressive. We're going through every single one of them. By the end of this video, you're going to understand this trailer better than the people who cut it. Let's start with the map, because that's where this entire crisis actually begins. Quick status check before we get into the trailer itself, because this matters for everything that follows. Rhaenyra holds King's Landing with 6 dragons behind her, but she's broke. Her people are starving, and the High Septon just told her to her face that dragons destroy, they don't create. Aemond is wounded and missing at Harrenhal. Ormond Hightower is dug in at Tumbleton, with the real Prince Daemon at his side, and Aegon II is somewhere out there, presumed dead, walking toward a castle with his last loyal advisor. 4 factions, 4 completely different problems, and this trailer touches every single one of them. Let's start where the real damage is happening. In the council chamber, Rhaenyra is visibly confused, asking her advisors why Ormond would even bother seizing a town like Tumbleton in the first place. That confusion is the whole problem in one shot. She's still thinking like someone fighting a war of dragons, and Ormond is already fighting a war of geography. Here's why that town matters so much. Tumbleton sits roughly 180 miles from King's Landing, right at the gateway into the Crown Lands from the southwest. Controlling it means controlling whether anything, soldiers, supplies, information, can move overland into the capital at all. And if you actually run the numbers on how fast anything moves in this world, the trap gets even worse. A relief force marching from King's Landing towards somewhere like Harrenhal at a standard forced march pace is looking at roughly 8 days of travel. Even sailing to Dragonstone and back is the better part of 3 days round trip. Tumbleton isn't just a town, it's a choke point, and Ormond picked it because he knows exactly how long it takes anyone to respond to a crisis in this world. Then the trailer drops the detail that turns this from a strategic problem into a personal one. Cat, the wife of Hugh the Hammer, one of Rhaenyra's own dragon riders, is shown standing in the town square, terrified, with her brother beside her. Ormond isn't just holding a town hostage. He's holding the family of one of the Black Faction's own dragon riders. Think about what that actually does. Hugh is riding Vermithor, one of the largest weapons on the entire board, and now the man occupying Tumbleton has personal leverage over him specifically. This isn't random cruelty. This is a targeted move designed to fracture the one group of riders whose loyalty was already the shakiest to begin with. Now let's talk about the political maneuver that might be even colder than anything happening on a battlefield. In the trailer, Mysaria gives Rhaenyra a piece of advice that's almost uncomfortable to hear out loud. Appoint a master of coin, so that when the people find out how broke the crown really is, they have someone to blame that isn't their queen. That's not just palace strategy. That's a direct response to what happened at the rat banquet. Remember, that populist stunt that won the small folks' love, but quietly infuriated every noble house in the city. One of those nobles, Lord Torhan Manderly, was shown smirking through the whole thing, openly pointing out that Rhaenyra's own naval blockade was what caused the starvation to begin with. That single moment of insolence just made him the perfect target. If the theory holds, Rhaenyra appoints Manderly specifically because he's already proven he'll say the truth out loud, which makes him both useful, since his family's northern wealth can prop up the treasury temporarily, and disposable, since he's already positioned himself as the guy who talked back to the queen. I want to flag something here, because this part is prediction, not confirmed footage. The trailer shows the advice being given, not the appointment itself happening. But if this is where it's heading, It tells you everything about how Rhaenyra is choosing to rule. Popularity with the small folk, purchased one scapegoat at a time. Here's the correction that's actually going to change how you watch the rest of this season. There's a shot in this trailer of a massive, decaying, headless dragon carcass draped over the walls at Rook's Rest. A huge number of casual viewers online are already calling this Sunfyre's body. It is not. Look at the scale and the red coloring. That's Meleys, the Red Queen, whose severed head was already paraded through King's Landing after she died in the earlier battle at Rook's Rest. What's left of her was simply abandoned on the battlements to rot. That's what this shot is actually showing you. And that misidentification matters, because it's hiding the real story. Aegon II and Rhaenyra Strong are shown walking on foot toward those exact ruins. Not riding, walking, which tells you how weak and exposed Aegon currently is. He's making this journey because he doesn't believe the Black Faction's claim that Sunfyre is dead. And based on everything else we're seeing, he's right not to believe it. If Sunfyre really is alive and recovering somewhere near that peninsula, this isn't a grieving detour for Aegon. It's a resurrection story. And it means the Green Faction is about to get one of its most powerful weapons back, right when the Blacks think they've already crossed it off the board. Now to the part of this trailer that's built almost entirely on dread instead of action. Sir Criston Cole and Sir Gawain Hightower arrive at Harrenhal, expecting to find Prince Aemond, or at least a hostile garrison holding the castle. Instead, they walk into total silence. The place is empty. Here's why. Aemond was stabbed in the back during the slaughter at Harrenhal, and hasn't been seen since. He is not in this episode's cast list, and he's absent from every piece of promotional material for episode 4. That's a deliberate choice. The show is keeping him off screen entirely while he supposedly recovers. The one clue we get is Alice Rivers, standing alone in the dark interior of the castle, reacting to something with a quiet, unreadable, "Oh my," while somewhere in the distance, Vhagar screams. Cole and Gawain are demanding Alice tell them where the prince is. She doesn't answer on camera. Put those pieces together. A wounded prince nobody can find, a witch with a reputation for exactly this kind of dark healing, and his dragon, very much still alive, screaming from somewhere close by. Whatever's happening to Aemond right now, it isn't a normal recovery, and when he does resurface, there's a real chance he comes back changed. Last storyline, and it might end up being the most personal one in the whole episode. Rhaenyra sends Daemon to the Vale to collect coin from Lady Jane Arryn. Simple assignment. Except Daemon has no idea that the exact region he's heading into is where his own daughter, Rhaena, has been hiding since the Battle of the Gullet. And Rhaena is hiding for a reason. She's the one who brought the wild, untrained dragon Sheepstealer into that battle, and her inability to control it caused indiscriminate carnage that indirectly got Rhaenyra's own son, Jace, killed. She's currently trading Sheepstealer's protection to Jane Arryn in exchange for total secrecy. Now, this next part is theory, not confirmed footage, but it's a strong one. Given how consistently protective Daemon has been of his own bloodline throughout this entire story, the expectation is that when he finds Rhaena, he won't hand her over to face Rhaenyra's justice. He'll cover for her instead, possibly using a fabricated report or a fake set of remains to keep her role in Jace's death hidden from the Queen entirely. If that happens, sit with what it means. The two people who are supposed to be co-ruling this war together would both be actively lying to each other about their own children in the exact same episode. That's not a subplot. That's the entire thesis of this show's third season, still playing out in a new location. Before we close out, one thing worth pointing out honestly, because a good breakdown channel should tell you when something doesn't fully add up, not just hype every choice the writers make. Go back to that fake Daemon hostage exchange from episode 3. Daemon Targaryen, one of the most experienced dragon riders alive, accepted that hostage without ever checking his bond with Targaryen, the actual Prince Daemon's dragon. In the established lore of this world, the bond between a dragon and its true rider is supposed to be unmistakable. A dragon watching its real rider get led away in chains should have reacted. Targaryen did nothing. That's a real logical gap, most likely created because the show needed to delay introducing the real Prince Daemon on screen. It doesn't ruin the episode, but if you notice that moment felt slightly off the first time you watched it, you weren't imagining it. You were watching the seams of a decoy plot that exists purely for television, with no equivalent in the original text this show is based on. So here's the actual thesis underneath everything in this trailer. Episode 4 isn't shaping up to be a battle episode. It's a dismantling episode. Rhaenyra's legitimacy, her marriage, her allies, all getting quietly picked apart, while the dragons themselves barely matter. Out of everything we just covered, Tumbleton, the Scapegoat plan, Sunfyre, Harrenhal, or the Vale, tell me which storyline you think hits hardest this episode, and why. I'm reading every single answer before this airs. And if you want the breakdown of exactly what happens the moment this episode actually drops, subscribe now. I'll have the full analysis up within hours of the premiere.